Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into the absolute limits of human endurance and, honestly, pure risk. We're breaking down 10 extreme sports from our source material that I absolutely 100% recommend you do not try at home. Why? Because in the arenas we're about to explore, the margin for error isn't just small, it's completely non-existent. We're talking about sports where a single tiny mistake is violently and often fatally unforgiving. Just listen to this quote. The first mistake in them is the last. That perfectly captures the terrifying life-or-death stakes we're dealing with today. This isn't about spraining an ankle or getting a few scrapes over the weekend. No, in the arenas we're unpacking, there is no reset button, no second chances. The source material makes it crystal clear. The very first mistake you make is often your absolute last. Talk about completely redefining the concept of a high-stakes game, right? So, here's how we're breaking this down today. 1. Speed and madness on land. 2. Darkness in the cave depths. 3. Defying gravity and towering heights. And 4. The million-dollar question.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Speed and Madness on Land.
Okay, just picture this. Imagine hitting speeds of over 100 kilometers per hour on a skateboard. I mean, no way, right? But the source notes that in downhill skateboarding, athletes literally bomb down steep mountain roads with absolutely zero real brakes. It's just you, gravity, and insane forward momentum. When you're moving at those blistering speeds, something as tiny as a pebble on the road or a slight overcorrection on a turn can violently throw you onto the asphalt. And let me tell you, the ground is incredibly unforgiving, and that kind of speed just multiplies the physical impact exponentially.
And this brings us to a really bizarre contrast in extreme danger. On one hand, you've got the wild annual English tradition of cheese rolling, where dozens of people sprint at top speed down a crazy steep hill, literally chasing a wheel of cheese. It sounds hilarious, but almost all the participants end up finishing the race completely smashed up. Then, on the flip side, you have downhill mountain biking, where riders are rocketing down rocky slopes and navigating literal staircases at breakneck speeds. If you thought riding a bike was child's play, well, this proves otherwise. In both of these wildly different activities, a simple, tiny loss of balance guarantees a violent, bone-crushing fall.
Now imagine adding a massive, powerful live animal to the mix. Ski joring is this absolutely wild concept where you ski on solid ice, but you're being pulled from behind by a galloping horse hitting 60 kilometers per hour. The sheer unpredictability here is just staggering. You are completely at the mercy of this animal. If you lose your balance, or if that horse suddenly decides to turn, you're either violently licking the ice or crashing headfirst into fences and trees at highway speeds.
Moving on to Section 2, Darkness in the cave depths.
This takes us into a completely different type of terror. One that doesn't rely on raw speed on the ground, but instead preys on our deepest, most primal psychological fears. So, are you afraid of tight spaces? Because if claustrophobia makes you even a little anxious, the source material warns that this next sport is an absolute unavoidable nightmare. Seriously, take a deep breath, because just thinking about this is enough to make your heart race.
Considered by many to be the most dangerous sport in the world, cave diving involves navigating complex, claustrophobic cave systems completely underwater. Think about it. There is zero natural light down there. The rock passages are incredibly narrow, sometimes forcing divers to squeeze through inch by inch. If you get disoriented in the pitch black, or if your oxygen starts running low, finding your way back to the surface is virtually impossible. You are entirely trapped by the earth and the water. It's truly terrifying.
All right, let's step out of the caves and into Section 3, Defying Gravity and Towering Heights. So, base jumping is drastically different from your standard skydiving out of an airplane. In this sport, athletes are literally throwing themselves off stationary objects. We're talking mountains, radio towers, towering skyscrapers. Because the starting altitude is so remarkably low compared to jumping from a plane, the jumper has only a few precious seconds to manually deploy their parachute. There's absolutely zero time to think, and definitely no time to troubleshoot if something goes wrong.
And the reality of that is downright horrific. To pull directly from our source, if there is a malfunction in opening that parachute in those few precious seconds, you and the Earth will instantly become one in the exact same place. The margin for mechanical or human error is literally zero. There's no backup plan here.
Next up is highlining. Okay, imagine walking on a tightrope, but not between two street poles in a park. We're talking between two massive mountains, suspended hundreds of meters in the air. A fall here isn't just a simple tumble. Now, while some people might use safety gear, the source makes a pretty chilling point.
If that safety line isn't there, or if the equipment somehow fails, a fall guarantees you will, as the original text so poetically and darkly puts it, greet the martyrs.
Then there's the wingsuit. This specialized suit literally turns the human body into a pair of aerodynamic wings, letting athletes glide through the air at speeds topping 200 kilometers per hour. The view from up there must be absolutely astonishing, but the danger? Unimaginable. At those extreme speeds, even the most microscopic error in your flight path or a tiny misjudgment of altitude will cause a direct catastrophic impact with the Rocky Mountainside in mere fractions of a second.
Now, free solo climbing completely strips away all technology and safety nets. You are ascending a massive, sheer, vertical mountain face, sometimes hundreds of meters up, using absolutely nothing but your bare hands and your feet. No ropes, no safety equipment to catch you. You are completely alone on that wall. Even a simple slip of a single finger or a slight misplacement of a toe means a totally unobstructed fall.
Our final extreme sport highlighted in the source takes place right in the concrete jungle, parkour. But we're not talking about just jumping around a local playground. Professionals take this to terrifying heights. They're jumping vast gaps between tall buildings and walking on extremely narrow ledges high above the city streets. They execute these incredible acrobatics, usually without any safety gear whatsoever. And it's a grim reality. One slight miscalculation of distance or a simple slip of the shoe instantly turns an amazing athletic stunt into a fatal disaster.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, the million-dollar question. So, after exploring how a single, tiny error in literally any of these 10 sports guarantees it'll be your very last, we arrive at our ultimate takeaway. Let me ask you this. If someone handed you $1 million today to try just one of these activities, would you take the gamble? Or do you realize that no amount of money is worth the risk, and your life is just too precious? It's a fascinating, sobering question to chew on. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, stay safe out there.